Everything you want to know about the Mariah Carey lawsuit. Is she going to win? Is she going to lose? How will it get resolved? Was she in the right? Was she in the wrong? And what can we learn from this when running our own business? Stick around, I'll give you my opinion on how this will shake out and what we can learn to make sure we can avoid any type of disputes like this in our own businesses, whether it's music or otherwise. We've all heard this song every Christmas, and it seems like more and more. I probably first heard it on this movie, and you hear it at pretty much every Christmas party and maybe in most stores you walk into during the month of December. Its success has been through the roof. It's estimated has made over $80 million in royalties going through 2022. One source says she makes about $2 to $3 million every single year from royalties. It has the record, and maybe this is just on Spotify, but 4 different times it is the most listened to song in a 24-hour period, not surprisingly, breaking its own record each December 25th, culminating last year. This is 2023. And so the most recent one is 2022, December 25, was 21 million times this song was played. And it's topped the charts during the holiday season. It's #1 every year going back to 2019. Anyway, that brings us to this lawsuit that we're talking about. Vance and the Valliants are now suing Mariah Carey for the second time, claiming copyright infringement. So they filed a case about 1.5 years ago in 2022 and dismissed it without prejudice. If you ever see a lawsuit and it says dismissed with prejudice, means you can't bring it again. Without prejudice, that means basically they were going to very likely restart. And they have restarted with a much more detailed complaint. It's about 19 pages. And they've got a new lawyer, the lawyer who took on Taylor Swift and had a 4 or 5 year battle over Shake It Off. The lawyer is Gerard Fox, and that one was confidentially settled last December. All right, a little background on who is Vince Vance. The actual name is Andy Stone, but that's the band and the stage name. They did have a very long career. They're out of New Orleans, 40-year career of performing. Their best song is All I Want for Christmas Is You. Recorded about 1988, debuted in 1989. For reference, Mariah Carey's was 1994. I've seen in some places that they played this song at the White House, so it was reasonably popular. They're known, at least on Wikipedia, as kind of a novelty band. All right, let's move on to the lawsuit itself. So here's the deal with the copyright. To sue for a copyright, you have to register it, and then you have to sue someone for it. Once you own a valid copyright, you can sue for any work that's been copied, and the copy is substantially similar to the protectable elements of the original work. Here's what a copyright owner gets in their copywritten material. For example, if Vince Vance can prove that he had copywritten material, which I think is questionable, but you have the exclusive right to reproduce the copywritten work. You have the exclusive right to prepare derivative works, meaning spin-offs from them, to distribute copies, to perform the work publicly, which obviously Mariah Carey's done many times, and others. And in the case of sound recordings, to perform the copyrighted work publicly by means of a digital audio transmission. In other words, when you have the copyright, you're the only one who's allowed to use it. You perform it and basically make profits off of it. In Vince Vance's complaint, or Andy Stone's complaint, there's 19 pages of allegations. So you see, if you look it up, there are about 70-something paragraphs, and Mariah Carey and her lawyer are gonna have to respond to each one saying they either admit that that paragraph is true or that it's false, or some other objection to it. In it, there's 2 claims. There's a lot of facts through the whole way, and then the last page or 2 are the 2 claims. The first claim is for direct copyright infringement against all defendants, and the second is for unjust enrichment. That's more of an equity thing. If they don't feel like they can prove that there was actual copyright infringement, they're saying, well, it's unfair. They were unjustly enriched without having to provide any compensation. So we're gonna look at some of the sentences they say are problematic. The plaintiffs are problematic. And then at the end, we'll get to how we think the court will rule. So there's the title, right? All I Want for Christmas Is You. So they're the same titles. It's not really problematic. By one account I've seen, there's 177 songs registered in the United States with that exact same title. But it's relevant, it's part of it. So here's some other things they've got in the complaint. So they have a quote, "Santa can't bring me what I need." So that is what Vince Vance's sentences. Says, Santa can't bring me what I need because all I want for Christmas is you. So let's look to see what Mariah Carey says. Santa won't bring me the one I really need. Won't you please bring me my baby to me? So it's the same ideas, but the words are not exactly the same. Their real complaint here is that they're talking about wanting a human and the material gifts are not enough. Is that copyright infringement? Let's look at a couple other cases real quick, and then we'll talk about what we think. So Vanilla Ice is a very famous one. So Vanilla Ice has that famous video where he's talking about the lyrics and what they've added to it against Queen and David Bowie. That was settled for an unknown amount to resolve it. Pharrell and Marvin Gaye had a dispute. $5 million were to be paid to the Gaye family along with a split of future royalties. And this was really for a musical style. And so this is a broader protection than normally you've seen in copyright cases. There are dissents from some of the judges here to suggest that they think that's gone too far. Let's take a listen to the differences in the song and see what you think.
Santa can't bring me what I need, 'cause all I want for Christmas is you. Santa, won't you bring me the one I really need? Won't you please bring my baby to me?
As you can hear, the beats and the tempo are very, very different between these two songs. So really what they're saying is that the lawsuit is all about this theme of all I want is you instead of gifts. Is that really copyright infringement? What do we think is going to happen in this case? Well, you don't ever know. So they are demanding a jury trial, and they can use that, and they can use whatever power this new lawyer has going against Taylor Swift to threaten that they're going to win. And when you're talking about Mariah Carey making $2.5 million a year, you're talking about $80 million in royalty. They're not even going for all that. They're asking for $20 million, which means they'll take way less than that. So my hunch is this is going to go on for a couple years and then it'll disappear into some sort of settlement and they will get either some sort of lump sum or some future royalties, something with Vance getting some money from this because they don't want to risk all the money that's available. That's just a guess, just based on hedging their bets. Do I think if you're listening to a jury, you tell me, what do you think? Do you think that this song used copywritten work and then made money off of it? I don't know, for me, it's a bit of a stretch. I'd say put in the comments how much you think they should pay or what would be fair. So it's kind of interesting, right? We hear this about the song all the time. I'll be watching this case. It'll be interesting to see how it comes. Sometimes I wish these cases would go to a jury and then even get appealed so we could get the court to rule and tell us how we can determine what copyright infringement actually looks like. But usually they settle because there's a lot of money at stake and they can usually work out some sort of a deal. But there's a lesson for us to be learned here. The lesson here is that you can avoid these. Mariah Carey could have avoided this entirely by getting permission for anything they thought was a close call. Now, the song ideas are pretty similar. There's no doubt about that. But the text of the song and the beat of the song and the lyrics, you know, they're similar ideas, but there's nothing that's actually the same. So maybe she'd be saying, well, we didn't have anything to get permission for. But out of an abundance of caution, you want to be getting permission. You can translate this into, well, trademarks. So we're starting our business. Let's make sure we own our trademark name or contracts. Whenever we're working with a new client, we want to make sure we get an agreement signed. So you can prevent pitfalls by being proactive. That is what she could have done to prevent it. That doesn't mean she did anything wrong here. You know, jury will decide that eventually, but this could be totally avoided had she have gotten these licenses that many, many artists do every time they do a song.